Jai Gurudev, and thank you for joining us today. So, could you explain how daily practices like Sandhya Vandanam and Upanayam Gayatri Japa help students deal with academic stress and peer pressure, acting as Kalki's protection? Jagadev, yesterday students face unprecedented stress, competitive exams, peer pressure, digital distractions, job losses often without inner anchors. Sandhya Vandanam with Gayatri Japa grounds them in profound stillness thrice daily. The vibrations of Gayatri literally purify mental channels, enhancing memory, concentration, and reducing anxiety. One father told me his son, who struggled with panic attacks before board exams, stabilized beautifully after consistent Gayatri practice. It was like some protective shield formed around him. Upanayanam is vital here. It's not merely donning a sacred thread, but wiring young minds to Dharma. The daily discipline acts like Kalki's horse, galloping through their nervous system, driving out fear, inertia, and confusion. Moreover, these practices subtly instill humility, preventing arrogance when success comes. Gurudev has often emphasized that a calm, clear mind excels naturally without unhealthy competition. Thus, by embracing these age-old Vedic practices, students invoke an inner Kalki, safeguarding themselves from modern dharma, stress, comparison, and low self-esteem, staying aligned to their true brilliance with joy. It's one of the most direct ways families can ensure Kalki's protection envelops their children in this hyper-pressured world. So, how does participating in collective yagyas or mass homas organized by Vedic Dhams and Sans service community-wide Kalki interventions, especially during times of crisis? Yes, yagyas and mass homas have profound ecological, psychological, and spiritual impacts in many drought affected regions. Collective Rudra or Varuna homas have been coincided with unexpected rains. During health crisis, thousands chanting Mahamrityunjay around a sacred fire subtly shift collective prana, alleviating fear and fostering hope. But beyond miracles, such gatherings act as powerful Kalki mechanisms, cutting through widespread negativity, stress, and divisiveness that typically escalate in crisis. I recall a mass home held after communal tensions in a city. Neighbors who had not spoken for years embraced afterwards, tears in their eyes. This is Kalki's mission, destroying adharma not with weapons but with shared sacredness. The fire symbolizes purity, and the mantras churn collective consciousness, lifting it out of tamas and rajas. When entire neighborhoods participate, it's like inviting Kalki to patrol the streets, ensuring peace, compassion, and mutual respect flourish again. Thus, these rituals aren't outdated traditions, they are sophisticated spiritual technologies precisely designed by rishis to maintain social dharma, especially during turmoil. Gurudev beautifully says when people chant together with intention, the atmosphere changes. That's Kalki at work, purifying our collective field. So, how does the wisdom of detachment, so often taught by Gurudev, act like Kalki's sword, freeing people from sorrow, obsessive control, and disappointments? Yes, Gurudev often says detachment is not indifference, it's a joyful freedom in relationships, careers, even spirituality. People get tangled in possessiveness or rigid expectations, which breed hurt when life inevitably shifts. Detachment is like Kalki's sword, cutting ties of unhealthy obsession, fear of loss, or compulsive control. I remember a lady devastated after her grown children moved abroad. She slipped into bitterness after attending art of living programs and absorbing Gurudev's talks on detachment. She blossomed again, painting, traveling, serving joyfully. She said, "It's like something heavy broke off my chest." We don't lose ourselves in anxiety over outcomes. In work, it means giving 100% without being crushed by failure or inflated by success. Thus, detachment is key dharma protector in Kali Yuga, preventing countless subtle adharmas like jealousy, control games, despair. Gurudev's playful stories and practical tools help people wield the sword with grace, keeping hearts open yet anchored in inner fullness. In this way, true detachment under Gurudev's guidance is Kalki acting within us, ensuring life's storms don't uproot our joy. How does satsang, even online or in small home gatherings, become a powerful Kalki force by dismantling individual and collective heaviness, restoring joy and unity? Yes, satsang means company of truth and Gurudev's framework. It includes collective singing, wisdom sharing, and simply being in uplifting company. In Kali Yuga, loneliness, silent despair, and division are rampant. Satsang is Kalki's subtle chariot, sweeping through these isolations with rhythm and laughter. Even during the pandemic, thousands joined online satsangs, dancing in their living rooms, tears rolling down faces as old burdens dissolve. One family battling grief after losing their patriarch said, Satsang saved us. It felt like Kalki visited our home, chasing out gloom. In villages, even a simple bhajan evening can reconcile feuding neighbors. Scientifically singing together synchronizes heartbeats and brain waves, dissolving barriers. This is Kalki's mission, uniting hearts, slaying hidden demons of ego and sorrow through shared joy. Gurudev often says the purpose of satsang is to make you feel lighter, more laugh more, and reconnect with life. Thus, whether under a temple banyan tree, in a living room, or on a Zoom screen, satsang becomes Kalki's field, where adharma in the form of heaviness, conflict, and loneliness is dismantled, and dharma of community and celebration triumphs effortlessly. So, how does the practice of silence, whether in a short daily period or during multi-day Sangam retreats of level 1 and level 2, serve as Kalki's subtle battlefield, destroying accumulated mental clutter? Yes, Jayagurudev, silence is perhaps the most underappreciated yet most profound battlefield where Kalki wages war against adharma. In daily life, our minds become crowded with trivial worries, past regrets, future anxieties like a noisy marketplace of unending chatter. When we deliberately enter silence, all these voices lose power. In Siam program of level 1 and level 2, where participants remain silent for days, doing deep meditations and guided processes help confront their hidden fears, unresolved grief, or suppressed anger. One businessman told us that on the third day of silence, decades of resentment toward his father simply evaporated. He described it vividly. It felt like Kalki came with a sword and cut a heavy knot in my heart. Afterward, he reached out and reconciled with his aging father. This is the magic of silence. It allows the deepest layers of karma to surface and dissolve without drama. Gurudev often says silence is the mother of creativity, clarity, and joy. The silence is a living field where Kalki tirelessly dismantles illusions, attachments, and inner noise, clearing the way for true dharma to shine through each person, bright, fearless, and compassionate. Could you share how even joyful dances often seen in satsangs or during art of living events symbolize Kalki's playful energy, dismantling heaviness and rigidity? Yes, Jai Gurudev, many are surprised that spiritual gatherings often end in dance. Gurudev beautifully explains that after intense meditation or chanting, dance helps integrate that energy into the body, shaking off residual tamas. In a sense, when we dance freely, dropping self consciousness, it's like allowing Kalki to ride through us, breaking rigidity, melting burdens, infusing vitality. I have seen middle aged people hesitant at first, then lose themselves utterly in joy. One elderly man at a Navratri satsang in Bangalore twirled so freely that later he laughed, I forgot I even had arthritis. This is no trivial amusement in Kali Yuga. People carry such heavy seriousness of ego, image, unspoken grief. A few minutes of uninhibited dance acts as Kalki's playful strike, breaking mental and physical armor. Afterward, differences dissolve, hearts open, conversations flow more tenderly. Gurudev often says dance is one of the most innocent expressions of life energy. Thus, dance becomes a sacred technology. Kalki's delight cutting through layers of conditioning and reconnecting us to childlike wonder, which is a pure state of dharma. So, whether it's a quiet bhajan sway or a full Navratri garba, dance serves as Kalki's joyous sword, restoring spontaneity and deep human connection. How do even small homely rituals like lighting a lamp at twilight or chanting a simple mantra daily act as micro Kalki interventions safeguarding homes from subtle adharma? Yes, often people think fighting adharma requires dramatic acts, but our rishis embedded powerful dharmic anchors in daily domestic life. Lighting a lamp at dusk might seem a quaint custom, yet it symbolizes illuminating ignorance, inviting divine light into spaces where tamas can otherwise settle. Chanting a mantra even 10 minutes daily purifies the vibrations in the house, creating a shield against arguments, misunderstandings, depression. One family told me that after they began lighting a lamp and reciting just 11 Gayatris every evening, their children's frequent illnesses reduced and household tensions almost vanished. It's Kalki's presence in the simplest form, light and sacred sound cutting through subtle darkness. Gurudev often reminds us that spirituality is making the ordinary sacred. These small rituals are actually profound Kalki technologies designed by the ancients to ensure our homes remain bastions of Dharma. No matter what storms rage outside, they keep prana high, heart soft, and collective consciousness tuned to sattva. So even humble acts like offering a flower or a sip of water daily become mini kalki movements warding off adharma and filling family life with grace, strength, and quiet joy. How does learning to accept impermanence, as taught repeatedly by Gurudev, serve as Kalki's gentle blade, cutting our bondage to grief and loss? One of Gurudev's most repeated teachings is on the premature nature of impermanence. Everything changes, everyone must eventually part. In Kali Yuga, attachment to transient forms causes immense suffering. When people cling, whether to youth, relationship status, or even grudges, they trap themselves in sorrow when life inevitably shifts. Gurudev's gentle humor and wisdom stories repeatedly slice through these illusions. He says, if everything is changing, why hold on so tight? Be like a child playing in the sand, build your castle, but laugh when the waves come. This teaching is a subtle Kalki sword. I once met a woman shattered after her husband's sudden passing. Gurudev told her softly, love doesn't lie, only the body changes. Celebrate his life. Don't get stuck in death. Over months of Kriya and wisdom, her grief transmuted into sweet remembrance. Thus, by accepting impermanence, we live lighter, love more purely, and navigate losses with courage. It's Kalki at work, dismantling our attachments to forms so our spirits remain free, open, and rooted in an eternal joy that no worldly departure can truly touch. So, how do rituals like Sandhya Vandanam or Agni Karyam passed through generations serve as continuous spiritual immunization? Kalki's enduring strategy against subtle family level dharma. Yes, Sandhya Vandanam and Agnikaram are not just personal disciplines, they are powerful family legacies. When fathers perform them daily, children naturally imbibe these vibrations. It's like ongoing spiritual immunization, daily exposures to divine vibrations that prevent the infiltration of tamas and adharma into the family psyche. Over generations, this sustains a lineage aligned with dharma. I have seen families who keep these rituals alive exhibit remarkable resilience. They navigate financial crisis without fracturing, handle disagreements with more forgiveness. It's Kalki working quietly across generations, upholding inner purity and mental clarity. A priest once shared that after 3 generations stopped these rituals, addictions and illnesses began increasing in that lineage. When revived, the energy shifted again. Gurudev often highlights how our ancient practices were designed with a long range vision, not just for one lifetime, but to protect whole bloodlines from drifting into confusion. Thus, these daily or seasonal rituals are like small yet mighty outposts of Kalki's cavalry, ensuring that even across centuries, Adharma finds no lasting foothold within these homes. They keep the family anchored in the subtle but immense power of sacred continuity. Jai Gurudev.